In this video, we're going to be talking about the shell execute function in Windows API. And to go on and get started, go ahead and open up your Microsoft Excel and go to the Visual Basic environment. And the very first thing that I'm going to do is get the shell execute command from my API viewer. And I will be using the constant sw_normal, which is show window normal. And I'll also be using the find window function. So if you don't have these already set up, using the API viewer or another API finder, get the find window function and shell execute. Find window I already have set up, shell execute I don't, so I'm going to go on and get this code and I'm going to paste it into my module. I'm going to put it as a public function, and I also need to place the PTR safe right before the function, because I'm using a 64-bit version of Windows. And I'm going to leave this module as is. These are my API statements. I'm just going to call this Alex API, but I'm going to create another module and I'll call this run application. Open parentheses, close parentheses, and the shell execute API function is different than your regular shell command that's provided in VBA. And what the shell execute command will do will return a value to us that will let us know if there was an error when trying to load the file. And these are just some of the values that are provided. 0 means the system was out of memory, executable file was corrupt, or relocations were invalid, or file was not found, path not found, and so on. There's a couple of values that we have here. But I'm going to go back to my VBA environment. And what we're first going to do is set up a variable for finding the window, for the window handle. So that's hwnd is equal to find window. The class name we're not going to use, but I don't have the class name, so I'm going to put VB null string. But I do know the caption of the window. I'm going to be using the Google Talk application, and the title on the title bar is what I'm using is Google Talk. And I'm going to put start document is equal to, just creating a variable, shell execute, the window handle, the command open, you pass that as a string, and then the location. So that's something I need to do, is get the location here. Let me copy that. And then we don't need either of those, but we do need to put show window normal. And if I put message box start doc, that way we know what the function returns. We can play this code and we'll see that Google Talk does load up. And 42, I haven't looked up exactly what that code is. I don't see it on here because it's not an error code, but I don't see it as a value in here either. So I'm sure there's an article that explains what 42 is. I'm going to assume that 42 just means that the window loaded successfully, because it does load. And if I go on and just hit OK though, let's just say we change the file name to Google Talk and we put 12. We know there isn't a file by that name, and we hit F5. We'll see that we get the error code 2, which, as we see from this article, 2 means file was not found. So that concludes this video though for showing how to use a shell execute command to load a file. In the next video, I'm going to show how to wait for the file to open, and then once the window is open, then we can run some other API statements to it, such as either hiding the window, disabling a button, or sending text to the window. But that concludes this video. Thank you for watching.